Good morning, my dear friends. Have you ever been in a relationship where, despite your best efforts, something just didn't feel right? Sometimes, no matter how hard you try, things don't work out, because God has a different plan for your life. He often uses various ways to show you that you might be making the wrong choice. In today's video, we'll explore 7 clear signs that God may not want you to be with someone. But before we dive in, please support our channel by liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment. Your support not only helps spread God's message, but also brings His love and light to more people. Let's get started. Sign 1. You find yourself facing a series of continuous hardships, from emotional stress to financial troubles. Sometimes certain aspects of a relationship can be clear red flags that God sets to warn you. These signs aren't meant to make you suffer, but to help you recognize when something isn't right. Think of your life as a house. You want it built on a solid foundation. If you start seeing cracks in the walls or leaks in the roof, it's a clear signal that something is structurally wrong. Similarly, if being in a relationship causes your life to spiral downward, it's God's way of telling you the foundation isn't strong and could collapse at any moment. God always desires the best for us and doesn't want us trapped in relationships that bring us down or make life more difficult. He may allow challenges to arise as a way to prompt you to change direction. It's crucial to listen to these signals and take time to reflect and pray. Ask God if the relationship is the source of the struggles you're facing, and be willing to see the truth, even if it's hard to accept. God has a better plan for you, and sometimes stepping away from an unhealthy relationship is the first step toward a life filled with blessings. We often try to fix things ourselves, but when difficulties continue, it's time to reassess. Don't be afraid to let go of what's not good for you. Trust in God's guidance, and after the trials, you'll discover that a new life filled with joy and blessings awaits you. Sign 2. They constantly drain your energy without ever considering your needs or feelings. There are some people who only come into your life when they need something from you. But when you're the one in need, they turn away without offering help or support. This is a clear sign from God that the relationship isn't right for you. Imagine you are like a shining candle in the dark, always providing warmth and light to those around you. If someone only seeks you out when they need your light and then leaves you in the darkness once they no longer have use for you, it's a strong indication that they're taking advantage of you. God doesn't want you to be stuck in a relationship where your feelings and care aren't genuinely reciprocated. In His wisdom, God may allow us to face rejection as a form of protection from further harm. While rejection can be heartbreaking, it's God's way of shielding you from unhealthy relationships. He wants you to understand that you deserve friends who will truly love and value you. We can see this lesson in the story of David and Saul in the Bible. Saul used David for his own benefit, but once David succeeded, Saul became jealous and rejected him. Though David went through immense suffering, God ultimately led him to his true purpose, becoming the great king of Israel. This reminds us that even when we're used and cast aside, God has a better plan in store. A healthy relationship should be built on mutual give and take. If you sense that you're being taken advantage of, it's important to step back and find peace in God. He will give you the wisdom to see which relationships are worth keeping. Though rejection is painful, it's also part of God's greater plan for you. Trust that once you move past the hurt, God will open new doors of blessings and joy. By letting go of relationships that drain you, you make room for the good things God has prepared. Always remember that you are worthy of real love and respect, and with His infinite love, God will guide you to relationships that bring peace and happiness. Sign 3. Divine guidance often comes in the form of dreams and visions from God. God often uses dreams and visions to reveal His will, especially when our own desires or emotions cloud our ability to see clearly. In the Bible, we see how God intervened in Abimelech's life through a dream. warning him not to take Sarah, Abraham's wife. This divine intervention saved him from a serious mistake and protected him from severe consequences. This story reminds us that God cares deeply about our well-being and often steps in to protect us from harmful situations. However, God never forces us to follow His will. Instead, He offers us guidance and leaves the decision in our hands, like a loving father providing wisdom without imposing it. When you receive a dream or vision, it could be God's way of sending you a message. Take time to pray and reflect on what He might be trying to tell you. These dreams may be warning signs about relationships or situations that are unhealthy, things you may not immediately recognize on your own. God's messages through dreams are not punishments. They are His way of steering us toward a better path, away from harm. Rejection or warnings delivered through dreams are acts of love and protection. God desires peace and joy for us, and sometimes that means walking away from relationships that aren't right for us. Cherish these dreams and visions as divine gifts meant to guide you. They are His way of showing you the right direction, leading you to a life filled with blessings and fulfillment. Sign 4. A fundamental mismatch in beliefs and values. If you find yourself drawn to someone whose beliefs, values, or long-term vision differ significantly from your own, it might be a gentle nudge from God to proceed with caution. As stated in Amos 3:3, "Can two walk together unless they are agreed?" When two people have fundamentally different views on life, it often leads to confusion, disagreements, and a lack of peace. This doesn't mean that couples need to agree on everything or share all interests, but when deep incompatibilities exist, it's wise to reflect on whether the relationship is truly aligned with God's plan. It's essential to seek out a partner whose passions, goals, and faith align with yours, even if it requires patience and discernment. Pray for wisdom, humility, and guidance as you search for the right person that God has prepared for you. God desires harmony and peace in relationships, not confusion or discord. While it's possible for a relationship to thrive with different perspectives, if there are fundamental differences in beliefs, aspirations, or values, it may be time to thank God for the clarity and respectfully part ways. Trust that God's plan will lead you to a relationship rooted in true love and understanding. Sign 5. They steer you away from the path of God's light and truth. When you begin to notice that your life is losing its spark and your connection with God is fading, it's a clear sign to pay attention. There are people who not only distance you from God's light, but also pull you into darkness, leaving you feeling lost and disconnected from your faith. Think of your life as a brightly lit path illuminated by God's presence. However, when certain individuals enter your life, they start dimming that light. Instead of supporting your spiritual journey, they lead you away from your prayer life, push you to abandon the Bible, and encourage you to stray from your spiritual practices. God always provides warnings before we face destruction, through subtle signs like feelings of discomfort or unfortunate events. When you start feeling distant from God or notice your life spiraling downward, it's a signal that He is cautioning you. He wants you to recognize that these individuals don't have your best interests at heart and are leading you away from His presence. When you associate with people who disregard sacred values, you'll find yourself slipping further into darkness. They cause you to neglect prayer, forget fasting, and weaken your spiritual foundation. Picture yourself as a lamp, with these people being the strong winds trying to extinguish your light. God desires you to live in His light, nourished by faith and love. In unhealthy relationships, you lose your sense of peace and faith, and life begins to feel chaotic. This is a clear indicator that these people are steering you away from God. Consider the lives of holy figures in the Bible. They remain steadfast in their faith, even in the face of great temptation or danger. Take the story of Daniel in the lion's den, for example. Despite the threats and danger, Daniel kept his faith in God, and in return, God protected him. God is always with you, but you must hold on to your faith and not let untrustworthy people lead you astray from his path. Sign 6. You start drifting away from your true self. When it comes to relationships, being in the wrong one can completely alter who you are in ways you never thought possible. A relationship that isn't meant for you may start to slowly shift your entire personality. Someone who was once joyful can become angry, a calm person can turn irritable, and a light-hearted spirit can become heavy with negativity. A relationship that comes from God is meant to uplift you, allowing you to grow into the person He intended you to be. It will help you rediscover your true self and purpose on this earth. But when you begin to lose sight of who you really are, it's often a clear sign that the relationship isn't from God. Think about someone you know who has changed drastically because of the company they keep. Someone who was once peaceful and kind can quickly become bitter and impatient. If you notice that you're becoming more negative, angry, or behaving in ways that don't reflect your true character, these are warning signs that the relationship may be leading you away from your true self. Suddenly, you may feel far removed from the person you once were, and only when you step back do you realize the truth. It takes strength and courage to let go of a toxic relationship, but remember, God will never withhold something truly good for you, whether emotionally or spiritually. Don't hesitate to discern what is healthy for you and what isn't. Sometimes taking that brave step to walk away is exactly what's needed to find your way back to your true self. Our journey today has brought fresh insights into the signs God uses to warn us about unhealthy relationships. Remember, life is rarely a straightforward path. Often it's in the twists and turns that we discover the invaluable treasures of faith and personal growth. Picture yourself walking along a beautiful path, every step surrounded by flowers of God's love and protection. Each sign He sends is like a bright bloom, a gentle reminder of His presence in every moment. Don't be afraid to release what isn't right for you. Move forward with courage, trusting that God has prepared a brighter future just ahead. While we can't control everything that happens, we can choose how we respond. Choose faith over fear, love over hate, and truth over deception. Let God's teachings fill your heart and guide your every decision and action. Thank you for joining us in this video. We look forward to seeing you in the next one as we continue these inspiring journeys together. Wishing you a day filled with blessings and the radiant light of God's love.